Sure.
I'm Katrina Hagan, and I'm the founder and co-owner of Sensitively Sweet Bakery and the Safe Spoon Café.
And how do you spell your name?
Katrina.
Good.
And then Hagan.
Just like it sounds.
Just like it sounds.
Cool.
Like the hurricane, and then Hagan, Hagan.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
And
I'm Alec Hagan. I'm co-owner and CFO of Safe Spoon and Sensitively Sweet.
yeah, nice.
Yep.
Okay, and tell us, you guys are from here? From
So
the area?
I'm from Rogersville. I grew up in Rogersville
Okay,
my whole
cool.
life, and we live in Republic now. But yeah, all my family is from the Ozarks.
Yeah.
She, on the other hand,
I was born in Springfield, Missouri. My parents met here in Springfield at the one and only Midnight Rodeo back in the 90s.
That's funny.
My mom was out with her sorority sisters, and my dad was on military leave. He was born and raised in Springfield. But shortly after I was born, we moved up to St. Charles outside of St. Louis, and that's where I was raised. I came down to go to college at Missouri State.
Cool.
And then I met this country boy and fell in love.
Nice.
Yep.
And then how did you guys get into the business that you're in right now with?
So if you want the full story,
Yeah, we do.
Okay,
We do.
Okay.
This doesn't
So
have to be short at all. This is
It all started at the Dixie Stampede. So
Yeah.
yes, that's where the story starts.
that's where you guys met?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's
Wait
where
a minute.
this story starts,
We
though.
met at Bears, for those that
Okay,
wondering.
yeah.
She was a waiter and a waitress, and I
was a patron of the bar.
patron of the bar. So yeah, that's how we met. But we received some free tickets to the Dixie Stampede. And so we're like, yeah, this sounds fun. We'll go down there as a date and everything.
Yeah.
And got down there. We were enjoying the pre-show, which I don't know if you've ever been to one of those. They have
I haven't,
they have the main
admittedly.
show, but they have, like, right outside of their big arena, they have a pre-show where were they juggling or something like that?
No, it was
it was
bluegrass.
a bluegrass band.
It was bluegrass. If
And,
they were juggling, I don't remember that.
Yeah, that was the previous time I went. But,
Yeah.
we were just there minding our own business, and a kid was walking through with his dad, and he was covering his mouth like this right in front of us. Next thing we know, we had vomit all over us. And
So I know you're like, how does that
Oh,
mean
wow.
anything?
so we both washed our hands and everything, and of course scrubbed down as best we could, and went and enjoyed the show or whatever. But the next day we were both sick as could be, and she was really, really sick. And so I'll let you take over from
Okay,
there.
so I never quite fully recovered from that. Unfortunately, that was the kickoff to triggering my autoimmune disease. And I was 20 years old, in college, trying to live a normal life,
Yeah.
and everything just kind of changed. I no longer was able to I couldn't process foods. I was sick 24/7. We're talking like emergency room visits, urgent care visits, 5 or 6 different specialists for years. I became so ill on the daily.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a really difficult thing. It was a big change in our life, and finally, after 5 years of this sickness, I was with a rheumatologist, and she was saying that your autoimmune diseases can be triggered by an event, and this stomach flu was just so bad. It was my event that triggered my lupus that I had, but it just wasn't like active
Yeah.
yet. And so I developed a food allergy to all gluten, grains, dairy, eggs, nuts, dyes, soy. So I had to like cut all of those things out, and it was extremely isolating. It was difficult. I was in college, now really not living a normal college life. I couldn't go out to eat anymore. I couldn't be around smells because they would make me sick or nauseous.
Yeah.
I was late to class. I had switched my major, so I was going to school for commercial interior design. And I was working as a designer at this time too. It grooms office environments in Springfield.
Sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they were really supportive with me, like trying to figure out what was going on. But it was hard. It was hard to show up to work every day when I was in so much pain in my stomach. And even my senior year of college at Missouri State, I was on a disability accommodation because I was so sick. And I got this diagnosis. I'm still sick, and I don't know what to do.
So it was lupus.
It was lupus,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't know what to do.
My mom has lupus.
Yes,
so-
it's tough, but
Yeah.
mine is like so GI.
Yeah.
You know, that's where my symptoms are, so it's
Yeah.
just so hard to diagnose. Because I've done the colonoscopies, the endoscopies, all the things you can think of. So one day we were like, enough is enough. We're officially graduated from college. Like, he graduated the year before I did, and we were like, we just have to do something different because I could not continue going on the way I was. I just was so miserable. And so we took out a credit card and we went to Care Health and Wellness, which is a functional medicine clinic here in Springfield, Missouri. And I've had some friends who had really great success with them. And it was the first time in my life I ever felt heard and understood. And so they really helped me understand what was going on with my body, ways I could get my body better, the vitamin deficiencies I was facing, the other deficiencies I was facing. And slowly I started to feel better and better. And then one day I discovered this thing called chickpea flour, garbanzo bean flour, in the aisles of Mama Jean's. And I thought, I think I want to try to make some cookies because I heard that people can sub out flax instead of egg,
Yeah.
and they can do this instead of that. And so I just decided I was going to go home and try to make something. And I start whipping up some stuff in my mixer, just kind of going off my head of like, okay, I could sub this for this and this for this. And next thing I know, I had these beautiful looking cookies baked on this pan in front of me that was free from gluten and dairy and eggs and nuts. And I tried one, and I made him try one, and I was like crying because it was the first dessert
so
I'd
good.
had
Yep.
in like 5 years. And
Yep.
so it was
So first try, you got it.
first try, I got it. The second try
Yeah.
was terrible. I think God knew I needed to get it right on the first try. But baking kind of became my way to take back what my autoimmune disease had taken from me
Sure.
for so many years. And he didn't have any food allergies at
Nope.
that time.
At that time,
And so he was my little
I was the taste
tester.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was very picky, so he was going to make sure it tasted good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Taking one for the team.
Yeah.
That's right.
And so I just began thinking, like, maybe there's more to this. Maybe I could sell some on Facebook and, you know, help get some money back to pay off this credit card that we used to finance my health stuff. And so I started posting on this gluten-free Facebook page in Springfield, and people were really interested in buying the cookies. And then it turned into cinnamon rolls and bread and more. And I was working like 8:30 to 5, and then I was going home and I was baking till 10 p.m. And then the next day on my lunch break and after work, I was meeting people in like the Verizon parking lot behind Grooms, like trading cash for cookies and stuff. Like,
Cookie deals.
yeah, it like became this like little ring of like trading cash
Yeah,
for
yeah.
cookies and cinnamon rolls and everything, because there's just no options out there. And that's kind of it just took off.
Yeah, we started going to the farmers markets, and that's when it really started to explode and get the word out. Our first one was Thanksgiving.
And this was what year?
2022.
2022.
Okay.
Yep. And we got there and set up and everything. And as we're setting up, the line started forming before we'd even open, before the farmer's market was even open. And we had a line, golly, 50 feet long.
Yeah.
Of people just waiting to buy all of our stuff for Thanksgiving. And I remember looking at her and I was like, I think you're onto something. And
Yeah.
ever since then, it's just kind of,
Because you can go to Mama Jean's and you can get stuff, but you don't.
You can't get it made.
You don't know.
Yeah.
You can't get it made,
Yeah.
and sometimes it doesn't turn out. You're like,
Yeah.
oh.
And it was a lot of that first one was like a big success, but everything else has been a lot of trial and error.
Sure.
I mean, we're talking years poured into building these recipes and making recipes that work and taste good. But I always kind of loved baking, and my mom was a cake decorator growing up on the side. That was her
okay.
side gig, and so I kind of already knew a little bit about baking, and I would always bake with my grandma, so it just became like a fun thing to make it and then make people try it, and then I
Mm-hmm.
gotta say like, hey, it doesn't have any of these things in it, and they were like, what? And so it just kind of became like a really fun thing for me to
Mm-hmm.
do.
Yep.
I officially took the leap 3 years ago this month, full time with the business.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when we decided we were just going to do it out of the house. I was going to do it out of the house. He was a teacher, and we were going to sell every week at the farmers market, rain or shine.
Yep.
And within 8 months of that, we were so busy, we opened the storefront in Nixa.
Yeah.
So somewhere between me, figuring out these recipes, and before I went full time though, my sweet husband was diagnosed with alpha-gal syndrome.
Yep.
So that kind of became crap. What do we do? And realistically, we already cut the dairy. We already were using the specific sugar. We were already doing the things. It was just cutting the meats, the byproducts, everything like that. And that's when we made the decision for our business, like, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right, and we're going to make it free from everything. We're going to make it alpha-gal safe. We're going to make sure it's fully mammal free. We're going to make sure that it's fully nut free, because he could have nuts and he could have soy and dyes, but and I was starting to be able to tolerate a few of those things still, but it just didn't feel right.
So what were your allergies specifically with lupus? What will you
So it was
avoid?
like a severe sensitivities that I use the term allergy because that I think describes the severity of it to places when I'd go out to eat at restaurants, which now we don't. We just eventually gave up on that because we were just getting
We just started
sick.
our own restaurant.
Right.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. But mine was grains. So it started with rice, and then it was gluten, and then it was corn and oats, and then it was dairy, eggs, and nuts. And so there was like a few other random ones. Now I still can't do any grains or gluten. I don't think I'll ever be able to tolerate those.
Yeah.
I can do egg whites now. I can't do the yolks. I can do tree nuts, but I cannot do peanuts. And I will do soy occasionally, but I really try not to. I really try to eat as anti-inflammatory as possible.
Sure.
Because that's just the best way to keep your autoimmune disease in check. And if I'm being completely honest with you, I don't have it all together. My health is not all together right now. There's still mysteries we're trying to actively figure out. So it's just better to keep things, low sugar, low histamines, low inflammatory.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we eat a lot of chicken, fish, and vegetables.
Yep.
And with alpha-gal, what do you have to avoid, or alpha-gal? Is it alpha-gal?
Alpha-gal,
I
yeah.
would say it wrong.
Yeah, so it's named after the protein molecule that's found in mammals. That's what you're allergic to. But so anything mammal, so beef, pork, lamb. I'm from the Ozarks, so deer meat is a pretty popular thing around here. Can't have that. And then, did I say dairy?
Any
Got
hoofed
Any-
product,
yeah,
right?
anything hoofed, yeah.
Yeah.
He says hooves, or if it nurses its young.
Yeah.
then it's-
So that, which you think would be pretty simple, but it's the fact that a lot of our stuff gets processed with mammal stuff. So sugar, for instance, they use beef bone char to get it that nice white color. Your gel caps and medication that's made out of gelatin from beef. And so it's hidden in a lot of stuff. Lactic acid is a dairy product, or can be a dairy product. And so I had to switch, not just what I ate, but like medications and stuff. We had to switch and have some of it I get specially compounded here. And so it was quite the lifestyle change. And we're still learning more and more about
Sure. I think that's the way life is, though, right?
Yeah.
We're all constantly evolving, changing, and trying to adapt. So continue. So from there,
we decided to open up a storefront in Nixa, and we live in Republic. He's from Rogersville. I worked in Springfield, so why Nixa was always our question. But it happened to be that there was a gluten-free baker there that had left town. She moved to Florida, and her space had been sitting available. It came with the sinks. It came with the hookups that we needed, and it was very minimal renovations. So we just kind of took the leap. We toured the place on like October 15th, and by November 1st we got the keys, and we had less than 2 weeks to turn around, get it ready and inspected for our first Thanksgiving in the space. And then officially by that Christmas of 2023, we had done our grand opening. So that space, we've already outgrown it. We're still there in Nixa.
Yeah.
I don't know how much longer we'll be there, but I think that it has served us really well for the time we've had. I think we're looking for something maybe a little bit bigger and better and closer to the heart of Springfield. And it just kind of like...
And what's the location right now?
So it's
107 West Aldersgate.
Thank you.
So same shopping center as Piccolo.
Yep.
Right behind
Yeah.
I live in Nixa, so that's why I asked.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. We're in the same shopping center as Piccolo's. And
Yeah.
it was crazy. I mean, I remember we opened up, we had 2 employees, and I was so used to preparing everything just for Saturdays. Like, you got to get all this stuff done for Saturday. And then it was like, oh, we have to have this stuff every single day. So it was hard at first, and we slowly got the groove, but we slowly added more employees, and I have a team of about 5 over there. And, well, 4 right now and 2 high schoolers that help out on the weekends, and then we're adding another full-time baker position. We're interviewing for that this week because the demand is so high.
Yeah.
It blew us away with how many people were coming through our doors. I think the first weekend we were officially open, which was the Christmas weekend, we saw, I think, over 500 people just in like 2 or 3 days. And for Allergen-Free, for this tiny little bakery, we thought that was insane. Not to mention the 6,000 people we welcomed here in the restaurant the first few days of being open. We weren't even dreaming that big yet. But it just kind of became the question of like, well, what if we did food? We don't have the space for it here, but we started testing out biscuits and gravy breakfasts.
Where'd you do that at?
The bakery.
Oh.
Yeah.
So every
So
Saturday.
like you would just have to go orders?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, it would just be first come, first serve. And so the first time we did it, we were like getting everything ready to go, and we poked our heads around the corner, and it was like a line outside of the storefront
Crazy.
for
Huh.
allergen-free, off-the-go safe biscuits and gravy. Like, oh my goodness. So we sold out of, I think we made like 20 servings. We sold out within like less than 25 minutes.
Yeah.
So then we did it a few weeks later with 50 servings, sold out again. And so it just started to become this thing. And he officially decided to leave his job full time to help at the bakery. And we were like, well, should we open a restaurant?
Yeah. Yep.
And we called our realtor, Jason.
Yeah. Massengale? Massengale or who?
Jason Nunn with
Nunn.
Hines and Nunn.
Okay.
He's a part of he's in the network and all
Yeah,
in the chamber
yeah,
and
cool.
stuff too. But we called them and we were like, hey, we think we want to open a restaurant in Springfield. We don't know what, when, why, who, or how, but we're thinking about this. So this is kind of space-wise what we're thinking. If you could just show some spaces as they come up. He was like, absolutely. So we toured a few spaces, and they were rough.
Yeah, they were very rough. I say rough. We found like it was just going to be complete gut jobs.
Yeah.
One of them had no parking space, which we were a little concerned about, and so we were feeling a little helpless. And then next thing we know, he's like, "Hey, I've got a place off Sunshine we need to go look at." And we showed up here. And it was an old barbecue joint. Smelled like an old barbecue joint.
Yeah.
Everything was covered in grease.
Everything.
Yeah.
But her and I, we both walked in and we just immediately fell in love with the space.
Yeah.
And so.
Well, it is a great location.
Yeah, it's a perfect location.
Location definitely makes a big difference.
Lots of parking, and then it was the biggest space we looked at the best price too.
How many square feet is this?
2,400 square feet.
And how big is the space in Nixa?
About 900.
Yeah, it's about 900.
A little less. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And so you guys do plan, I'm sure, combining the two into one,
Yeah.
or at least having them adjacent.
that's the goal.
That's
Yeah.
the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And what are you thinking, like, down the road? How big do you think that needs to be? Are you
Oh,
looking
goodness.
5,000 square feet? Or
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and we at the bakery, we don't just like sell baked goods to customers through our store every day. We sell at Mama Jean's, we sell at Hy-Vee, we wholesale to a ton of different places. We supply the entire cafe here with our breads, with the biscuits, with the brownies, brookies, muffins, cinnamon rolls. And it's like we can't keep up with the demand, but we're almost fully out of space. So
Yeah.
we're pretty much maxed out with space there.
Yeah.
We could probably push it a little bit more with alternating some shifts maybe and bringing in people at different times.
Then you
but-
got issues with like employees that live close to there
Mm-hmm.
versus coming somewhere else. Like
Yeah.
so
juggling that whole.
It's
Yeah,
hard, and I've already talked to the girls there at the bakery. Like, this isn't our forever home, and they're
Yeah.
all really understanding. I have one girl who's like, "This really sucks," but I'm like, "You have to come with me. I can't lose you." You're the best. So
Yeah.
I think they're all willing to come
Good.
with us. I've had that core group for over a year and a half now, and they've been such a vital part of
Yeah.
allowing me to step away and focus on this, because I went from being with them for 40 hours, more than 40 hours every single week, to then being there maybe 10 hours a week. And so they've really taken on a lot
Yep.
and pushed themselves, and I'm really proud of them. But it's time to get them some more help over there and maybe take a load off their shoulders. And yeah, hopefully in 5 years we'll have a spot that can fit both things.
Yeah.
And I think that's something you can franchise. I think that is something you can duplicate in other communities
Sure.
that need a good allergen-free place to eat, because most communities don't have that at all. It's very rare to find it. And we're the first truly allergen-free restaurant and bakery like in the entire state of Missouri. Now there's
Really?
other
That's
other
crazy.
options out there
Sure.
that are free from, like other allergens, but maybe they're not quite alpha-gal safe, or maybe they do use nuts, or maybe they do have soy in some of their things.
Mm-hmm.
And so it really is like a big deal to be doing what we're doing, and we definitely don't take it lightly. But I do remember when we decided to do this and open it, we knew there was a lot of eyes on the project.
Yeah, we didn't sleep for weeks. Like,
I'm still hardly sleeping.
Yeah,
I feel like
not much has changed, but yeah, we took it as serious as possible, and I don't know, we feel very blessed to do what we're doing.
Yeah.
And we take it on as a responsibility to serve our community and the community of people that, don't get to sit down and enjoy a regular meal. It's just been awesome to see families come in and sit down at a restaurant for the first time. It just,
yeah, to see like a little girl
Yeah.
get to order dessert for the first time in her life, and husband and wives finally getting to go on dates. And because even
Yeah.
with alpha-gal and with other allergies, like, you can eat at other restaurants,
Sure.
but there's always the risk of one employee not paying attention, and the rest of your day, week, month could be completely ruined because you have a reaction, or even like the cooking of the fumes can make you sick. And so
Yeah, which
just-
I think a lot of people just take for granted because it's like, I don't have an issue with
Yeah.
that,
Right,
but
and it's
somebody else
really-
does, and that's
you
a big deal.
don't understand it until you've lived it.
Yeah.
And just being able to watch the freedom our customers have had here. That's why food without fear has become our phrase.
Yeah.
Because that's really what we're trying to serve here, is food without fear. Because for me, food is extremely fearful. I'm still very scared to try something new, eat something new. I have to give myself like a pep talk to do it.
Yeah.
Be like, okay, you can do this, you can try this, because it's scary. But I think that our customers, deserve to have people that understand that running this,
Yeah.
to know that we are putting everything we can into this and all of our knowledge we can into this to keep things as safe as possible for everyone.
And you guys have been open here how long?
February 6th was our grand opening, so it's been about a little over 2 months.
Yeah. And I was here for the ribbon cutting.
You
So
were?
I've had twice, I've ate your food twice because I brought the Monday group that
Oh, yeah.
we get together
Yes,
every
you did,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I have to say, I love your sandwiches. They're great. I had the pesto the first time, and I
Yeah.
definitely will come back for that again.
Yep.
What is your favorite items on the menu? I know you're a biscuit and gravy kind
Oh
of
yeah. I'm so proud of the biscuits and gravy. I was
That's
so
awesome.
happy the day I figured out how to make the gravy, but and then the girls at the bakery figured out how to make the biscuit. So that's my breakfast option. I eat that every morning.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't, but I do. And then lunch, man, what is my favorite sandwich?
It just depends. Probably the Niangua.
It's hard to go wrong with the Niangua. It's
And what's on the Niangua?
So the Niangua is chicken, turkey bacon, caramelized onions, garlic aioli, and barbecue sauce. We use the Date Lady barbecue sauce from
Oh
here in
yeah,
Springfield.
nice.
So,
Nice.
yeah, it's really good. So
Yeah. My favorite for breakfast, I do the berries and cream pancakes. I typically just do a kid size with just a hot latte. I really enjoy getting to drink coffee here because um, I have not been able to enjoy coffee in so many years. But we have an organic decaf here that's water bath, it's no chemicals, it's super clean, low acidic. And so I
Yeah.
do that with some flax milk. And so that's like my favorite thing to eat with breakfast. And then for lunch, I've been on a kickin' chicken ranch lately. So it's like a buffalo chicken ranch
yeah, that's
sandwich
good.
on our toasted sourdough. And then to drink with that, I really like a good lavender lemonade, or we're doing dirty sodas. It's
Yep.
like
Yeah, I saw
it's the
that.
thing. So like dirty sodas have become the thing. Like you add like coconut cream and lime to like Dr. Pepper, and it's like, yeah, well, we don't do soda here because we're corn syrup free. So we do alternative sodas: Olipop, Poppy, Yes Honey, just kind of those soda like drinks.
Yep.
And so we have some house-made syrups that are organic and allergen safe that we can do a strawberry cream soda with one, and that's my personal favorite. But
Nice.
he really likes the vanilla Coke.
Yes, the vanilla Coke
we can
or the
do that.
strawberry cream soda. That's hard to beat. So.
Yeah, that's a good one. I
Yeah.
would probably go for something along those lines. Yeah.
Yeah.
Weaknesses. Let's talk about your guys' weaknesses. Any weaknesses that you have?
Oh god.
I can list all of his if you. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It's a big list.
We all have weaknesses. I mean, come
to,
on.
To start, neither one of us are restaurant people. I mean, she was a waitress for a little while,
Yeah.
but that
You got to start somewhere.
between the two of us, that's the only experience we had in the restaurant industry. So this was a whole new world. I remember I was so scared. Like, how do we make this much food? How do we make it on demand? And
Yeah.
how do you even run a kitchen? And luckily, we had some help from U.S. Foods. They sent out a chef to help us, kind of figure out the systems and processes. But
Nice.
that's
great.
still kind of one of our weaknesses. Is just we never ran a restaurant before. So, but
there's
we're
growth
figuring-
opportunity
there
there
is
with
growth.
it.
Yeah, absolutely. So.
I think a personal weakness of mine is that I built this from a place when I was really sick. And as I got healthy, the business grew too. And I think a lot of my identity is with this business, and it has been for a very long time. And so it's hard for me to let go of things and pass it on to other people to do it and to believe in them and to trust them. And it's not because I don't trust them and I don't believe in them. It's because it is my identity. And so just taking on our managers here and giving them leadership roles and trusting them to help us follow out our mission has been difficult for me. And it's something I have to actively work on every day because I am what some might call controlling or type A, but I'm the oldest sister, I'm
get
the
it.
oldest sibling. It's just who I am. It's in my DNA.
I'm oldest as well,
Yes,
so I
and
get
he's
it.
the youngest, and so it's
Yeah.
just really difficult sometimes. But I think trusting in the Lord has been one of the most important things that we've done here, and we have the best staff.
The best.
I will complain about them occasionally because we have a lot of teenagers that work with us, and teenagers are teenagers, but they know we love them to pieces. But they have just taken on these roles so well.
They have.
And they have jumped in, and they have been flexible, and they have been kind. And even when it's crazy and things are running around, they're like making sure their teammates are drinking enough water, getting a lunch break, checking in on everybody, checking in on us. Like, and we're trying to do the same for them. And so it's been really cool to watch just relationships and how fast they can grow when you're thrown into an environment like this. And almost all of our employees have a tie to food allergies in some way.
Yeah.
And so I think
makes sense.
that's been helpful in staff retention and like keeping morale high because we have an actual goal we're fighting for. It's not just serving good food, but it's serving food without fear. It's making a place of inclusivity for everyone.
Yep.
And so to get them on our mission has been really great. Any other weaknesses?
Nah, that's it. That's it. On to the next question. Talk about strengths. Where do you guys feel like your strengths
We
lie?
are very, very passionate about what we do.
Yeah.
We care a lot, which is the reason why we don't sleep a lot, is because we're stressing about the next thing to do.
Yep.
But, this is our baby. We've poured our heart and soul into it. And, it's been a lot of long, long days. We did all of the remodeling here. We had a lot of help from friends and family, but there's a lot of days where it was just her and I here, hanging the wallpaper, putting the board and batten up, and painting, lots of paint colors. And she may have changed her mind on colors a few times after,
It was the interior designer in me.
after everything was painted already.
I get that.
Yeah, so that wall up in the front has about 9 coats of paint on it. So just
What about this color? Okay, actually,
like
this
this
color. Oh, okay, I think we're gonna go with
but
this color.
it just shows like how much thought we put into this, because we care about it so much. We care about people so much. We're very passionate about helping people. And I think that's our biggest strength, is just our passion.
Yeah,
So-
I think so too. I think just like the love we have for others has really pushed us to keep going. And I'm an incredibly stubborn person, which can be seen maybe as a weakness, but I find it almost to be a strength, because I'm not going to give up. And once I
Right.
have my mindset on something, I'm going to do it and I'm going to get it done. And I might end up pulling out my hair while doing it, or my husband's hair, but we're
Yeah.
going to get there. And it was just we just had to lock in and go.
Mhm.
I think it's easier for us because we don't have kids yet, that we can just, lock in and focus on. So I think something we're going to have to be more considerate of for future projects is not burning ourselves out while doing
Yeah.
it, taking the time to make sure, making sure we have the financial capacity and the time and the commitment to work it out.
Yeah.
But when it's time to grind, we're really good at just getting it done.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
The names, where'd they come from? Like, I mean, I don't want to be obvious, but I'm like,
So
Did you-
Sensitively Sweet was based off of food sensitivities.
sure.
Shout out to my friend Andrea. She kind of came up with the name, and I was like, yeah, I'll do it. That
Love
works
it.
great.
How long did that take you?
Was
Was it pretty quick, or was it kind of?
pretty quick?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was
Nice.
pretty quick. We came up with it pretty quickly. And then the Safe Spoon we were debating names for a while, and I had a friend who was like, I really like the name The Table. And I was like, I like that too. And then The Table opened, and I was like,
Yeah.
wow, that's a really good name, and that's a really great restaurant. And so the Safe Spoon just made sense.
Yeah.
I think it was my top choice from the beginning, because it immediately sparks interest. Like, safe, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And it immediately shows our mission in our name right there. Safe Spoon,
Yeah.
sensitively sweet, food sensitivities, food allergies, all of that. I do think eventually we will transition everything under the Safe Spoon umbrella instead of the sensitively sweet umbrella. Unfortunately, sensitively is just a really hard word to spell.
I can't even spell it. So.
And people struggle with that one. And so I think we will eventually switch everything to the Safe Spoon. But for now, we're happy just letting both kind of
Yeah.
live
Well,
on
they're
their
both
own and
SS, right?
coexist.
Yeah.
It's both SS. They combine them both,
Yeah.
live together separately, whatever. But they definitely are so important for each other.
Yep.
So
How about barriers that you've faced, that you've overcome?
The hardest thing we deal with is finding ingredients. We have.
Is that a source issue, or just?
Yeah, and we've had pretty good luck with U.S. foods here, but it's just a matter of making sure that there's not any hidden ingredients in our stuff. So trying to find clean ingredients at a reasonable price, because that's the flip side of trying to eat healthy, is costs go up.
Yeah.
And we wanted to open up a restaurant that was affordable and reasonable and comparative to what you might find at Panera or First Watch or some of the other cafes around here. And so just a matter of finding those ingredients, and with that is some of it we can get delivered here, but a lot of it we have to go grocery shopping, which adds a whole nother job to keeping this place going. Is somebody's going to Sam's or Costco or Mama Jean's every other day for a big haul, and it just gets it's a pretty big barrier to get over, but we're slowly figuring it out.
Yeah, we use some unique products. For instance, in all of our breads and cinnamon rolls, our secret is psyllium husk, which is not actually a secret because ingredient transparency is super important to us.
Sure,
but
sure.
psyllium husk is just like this husk plant that you use for fiber, and you see it in the dietary section at Walmart or any grocery store. But what it does is when you mix it with water is it creates this gel paste, and that actually mimics gluten in our breads. And so that is such an important ingredient for our sourdough, our white bread, our cinnamon rolls, which are our top 3 selling things.
Yeah, yeah.
And it can be really hard to source. A lot of it is it's grown in Canada and India. Those are the 2 top suppliers in the world. With tariffs and with all of that, it has been incredibly hard to get your hands on it. A 3-pound bag, you're looking at over $150 for, and we go through about 20 plus of those a week. And so that has been difficult. We're still trying to figure that out, but we need to make sure it's coming from a safe facility because
Sure.
a lot of times those things can be processed where wheat is processed, and immediately if it's in the same facility at all, we're absolutely not going to use it.
Right.
It can be processed with other grains and stuff, or even nuts and stuff. I notice it gets cross-contaminated with that a lot too. But as of right now, we found a distributor that we're able to get it through. But that's only going to last till it runs out, and then we have to hope that either our brand we get from India or a brand from Canada is back in stock with what we need. So that's been definitely a challenge, is just the unique ingredients that we use.
Anything else?
Those in stock. Ingredient-wise?
No. I just
challenge-wise.
Challenge-wise, barriers.
I think at first it was staffing. I didn't know how to lead. I didn't know how to take what I had been doing in my head for so long and put it on paper for someone else to mimic. And I didn't know how to let them take the reins either and have their own identity within what we were doing. And so once we really started pouring into our employees and trying to give them the space to learn and grow and truly listen to them and their ideas and their suggestions, so they feel so they know they are a part of what we do, has been huge. Pouring into our employees has been
Gives them a good sense of ownership, so they're
it really has been.
I don't own it, but
yeah. And so we've both worked at not so ideal places when it comes to I think culture is a buzzword. And I think saying you have a great company culture can actually, there can be a lot of hidden stuff, under the layers that you don't see. And that's going to be anywhere you work, honestly. But we just try to meet our employees where they're at. A lot of them, like I said, have some type of autoimmune disease or celiac or an allergy.
Yeah.
And so that means they might not be feeling good every single day. Yeah. And so just coming at it with compassion and understanding and showing them our real sides too, and being very honest with them, we do not have it together right now. Yeah. We really could use your help has been key. Communication has just been so key.
Yeah. Well, it always is.
It is, yeah.
It's whether that's you talking with your employees or vice versa, and taking that feedback that they have for you, and customers as well. But I mean, I believe that if you put gold into your employees, they're going to take care of your customers.
100%. Absolutely.
And, what about influencers and or mentors that you've had maybe along the way that you either expected or didn't expect? Anybody?
I've been really lucky with some people in my life that have helped. Heather, she owns Yes Honey brand, which is based out of our area here. It's an alpha-gal safe soda and honeys. She sells in over 500 grocery stores now. I've met her at the farmer's market. She's been a wonderful mentor in this whole project and process, and not just business, but just life too.
Yeah.
She's my mom's age, and so she's seen a little bit more life than I have, and so it's been really helpful to be able to go to her and ask her questions and have her help me and guide me along the way. Do you have anyone in your life?
Yeah, I mean, it's just taking a village to do this.
It does.
For me, it's been my parents, being able to call them, them tell me, hey, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like, stop stressing out so much about everything, which is easier said than done.
It is.
You know, and then, you know, like I said, this place was an old barbecue joint. My mom spent 8 hours a day for weeks just scrubbing grease in the kitchen and didn't complain once.
Not
and
a
so,
single complaint.
you know, just having those kind of people around that are willing to help and that are there to support you, it's really solidified those relationships that I already knew I had.
Yeah.
And just being able to see them, you know,
Yeah.
have those people come and help and put their love into action has been really, really good to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, his mom, she was, the first few weeks of us being open, we were just getting slammed, and we could not, I mean, we were working 100 hours each week.
Yeah.
And so she was doing dishes, she was bussing tables and introducing herself as Grammy to all of our tables and stuff. That's what our nieces and nephew call her.
Yep.
My parents are in the St. Louis area still, but my mom has been tirelessly working with me on like our allergen-free menu guide, making sure everything is properly documented. She came up every single weekend before we opened and helped me hang artwork, helped me paint, helped me bake. I would send my mother to the bakery, and I was like, I need you to bake here. I need you to help them so I can work here. And so we're just very lucky to have the family that we have that's so willing. My sister came opening weekend, and she's a welder now in St. Louis, but she was a server at First Watch forever when she was getting her welding degree. And she went and she worked our expo. She taught all the employees how to work expo. She was running the whole place and stuff. And so it's just been really awesome to have friends and family jump in and help us where we need it. So
Any other gratitude you guys have? I know you've got a lot of local support and definitely.
Yeah, I think for me, we've got a good friend, or I've got a good friend, Cody Stewart. He's a handyman of all handymans, and he's
those are good to have.
Yeah, he's come out and saved us a lot of times with just random stuff, plumbing, electrical, and so just another one of those relationships, you know, that you're glad to have and very thankful to have in your life. So yeah, I think my best friend Sierra, she's been a huge help through this whole process. She actually used to work farmers markets with me in the very beginning. And we barely even knew each other, but we worked at the same place, and we were kind of starting to talk more at work. And she was like, I'll help you at the farmer's market on Saturday if you want. And so I would pick her up at like 6 a.m. on Saturdays, and she would come help me work those markets. And that's really where our friendship was able to blossom and stuff. And so having her has been a huge help. Just our church family, our family, and then our employees. It's just been a village for sure. I know our village is like just holding their breath for our next project. What are these crazy people going to do next?
So you guys are I know you do like so much, 100 hours a week. How much does that leave extra time for fun or leisure? But what do you do?
We're getting there.
We're getting there. Yeah.
What do you do in those moments?
Do
you have a particular
we love
hobby?
to fish. That's our favorite thing to do together. My grandpa's got a big pond up in Buffalo, so we go up there. My parents own some property on the river, and the Niangua River, hence the Niangua sandwich we sell here. So we love being outside and fishing and eating fish fries, lots of fish fries. So.
Yeah, we love to garden, but this is the first year we're not doing a garden because we're supposed to buy his grandpa's house and land this summer. Yeah. And so we would have to rip it all up. And honestly, I think I just needed a break from it. But we're excited to next year have a garden that his family's been growing in for over 50 years. So
cool.
We love to grow our own food. We love our dogs. Our dogs are our best friends. We like to.
What kind of dogs do you have?
They're both mutts. They're like
okay, good. Those are the best times.
They're like herding mutts. One, he's a Australian Shepherd, something, and the other one, she's a Border Collie Blue Heeler, and they're fat and lazy and a little sassy. But he's been running in the morning because we kind of let go of. We were kind of starting to go crazy because we let go of taking care of ourselves. And so we're trying to get back into that. So he's been running again in the morning and taking the younger fat one with him. And now he has an accountability partner at 6 a.m. every morning begging to
ready to go, huh?
On a run.
You say the word run, and he's He's
Ready.
up and at it.
We've
so.
been going to the gym together. We try to go 3 to
Cool.
4 times a week together, and that's been
Yeah.
really important. It's taking care of like your physical health while also
sure.
like taking care of your business, because if you aren't taking care of yourself and you're not feeling good, then you can't pour into your employees, and then your employees can't pour into your customers, and your customers will feel it. And so
Right.
that's what we've really been trying to do. And I haven't been the best at it. I'm going to be very honest with you, but we're getting there.
It's hard.
Slowly but surely. It's really hard.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It can be tough sometimes.
Yeah.
But prioritizing that is important.
Very.
Any businesses or people that you feel like might be important to have an introduction, or maybe that are important to you that for the show, for living in the Ozarks?
I think we partner with a lot of local businesses around here. First one is Yes Honey, which she talked about with Heather. But we sell all our sodas here, and then her honey drizzlers, the phenomenal product. And then Pesto for All. They make a pesto. They're at the farmers markets during the summer, but very clean pesto. I think it's like 3 ingredients.
Yeah. Nice.
Basil, salt, and olive oil, I think, is all it is. And so it's really clean, really good stuff.
They sell at a lot of local grocery stores too.
Yeah.
So, and Will just went full time. His wife is a vet here in Springfield, but Will just went full time with the business. There's Lazy Duck Pastures.
Is it Redbud?
They just changed their name, thank you, to Redbud Duck. They're pasture raised duck. They have the best tasting duck ever. You can cook the duck breast. It's more of like a red looking meat. You can cook it like a steak.
I love duck. If it's cooked properly,
you can cook it.
good.
You can grill it up just like a steak. And so since we can't have steak, it's so good.
Yep.
But they're around Ava too. And so we sell their products here. We also met them at the farmers market. Spring Branch Kombucha. I bet you've heard of them.
Yep.
They're huge in our area. And I met them at the farmers market too. We sell their products here. And so that's New Story Coffee. So they are a faith-based coffee roasting company. She is from Guatemala. Susie and her husband Graham is from Canada, and they
make the best coffee.
Yeah, they met
Nice.
and they know all of their farmers. They source all of their beans from these farmers they know that use organic practices or that are certified organic. They import them in and then they roast them themselves, but it's pesticide free, it's mold free, it's like super clean beans, low acidic, so it's really good for people with chronic health issues that still want to enjoy a good cup of joe. So we love them too. And we just met them through persistence. They were just very persistent to come to get into a cafe if we ever made one. And finally when we opened a cafe, I was like, there's this lady who always comes in with beans, and so I think we should give her a call. And so we did, and they've just been amazing to work with. So we really enjoy that. And their family, it's just their family, they just work really hard to get stuff done. So almost all of the businesses we partner with, it's their whole families are working with them. It's a whole family affair. And that's just important to us. Community is just like
very much so.
What makes us, what makes the 417 area like so great. I think it's just like the amount of interconnections that you can get within it.
And if somebody wants to buy stuff from you guys, remind us again, Mama Jean's.
So Mama Jean's, we sell our mixes. We have 5 different mixes there: brownie, cookie, muffin, pie crust, and pancake and waffle mix. Those are also all at Hy-Vee. And then at Mama Jean's, we sell our white bread and our sourdough, but we also sell our baked goods Tuesday through Saturday in Nixa from 9 to 5. Saturdays we close at 2 p.m. But we sell, you can come in, you can get brownies, brookies, cinnamon rolls, cupcakes. We have fresh baked goods every day. And then here at the Safe Spoon, we're open Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 2:30 p.m.
Cool. Cool. What else? What's next?
We really want to start a family.
Yeah.
So we're going to buy his grandpa's farmhouse, and hopefully we'll start our own family, and we're just going to keep letting this cook, and we're going to move the bakery to Springfield. That's up next, and then after that we're going to get everything under the same roof. So.
And then we'll start looking at other communities
to
branch out to. So
give us like 5 to 8 years, and then we'll be ready for some other communities around us. So.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, I appreciate you guys meeting with me.
Thank you so much.
Hopefully you enjoyed it and provides value to people I'm all about like, and we're done now. But I mean, to me, it's like that's what living in the Ozarks is about, is like connecting people and highlighting the great people and the great businesses and the great things about the Ozarks, which I think there are plenty of, ample supply of those things.
And I think it's like, if you're gonna do it, like you can't like do it alone. You know, you have to rely on the community that you have. But then it's like, okay, we have all of these customers we're now able to send to these brands that we know are allergen safe, that we've tried, that we trust, and we connect. And they have their own customers too that they're able to send to us. And so it's becoming like this big allergen-free like market of people that we can like send everyone to. And so we're working in partnership with Yes Honey to start the newbie's guide to alpha-gal. So it's a free guide for people who are just diagnosed with alpha-gal to have a 4-week elimination diet. I walk them through each stages of what they need to eliminate to make sure they're eating an alpha-gal safe diet. And then it also gives them recipes and brand suggestions, local brand suggestions, coupon codes, to really just try to like help encourage people and lift them up in a really uncomfortable and unfortunate time being diagnosed with this syndrome, because it's very overwhelming and scary. But thankfully there's a lot of local brands who are willing to help out and be a part of this with us. So
and maybe some DIY people, because obviously we can't eat out every meal.
Right.
There's a point where you gotta bring it on home.
I know. I didn't say this yet, but I've started the process of writing a cookbook too.
Good.
That's I really want to self-publish a cookbook. I think that is going to be great for people who live far away or who don't have the means to eat out every meal, because we don't have the means to eat out every meal. We just own the restaurant, so we get to, but that's the only reason why. Just give them an opportunity to be able to make delicious stuff at home that is safe for them and it's been tried and tested.
Especially with all your partners too. They can, you could all just like one big communal cookbook. Not that you don't have your own, but then one bigger one. That'd be cool too.
I just love that. I know. I want to blog. I want my own podcast. I want all these things. I know. I'm like maybe like once we get things franchised and settled a little bit for us, then I could start a podcast too and just talk about like health and wellness and living with food allergies in the Ozarks, and just like how you navigate that and experience it, because it's incredibly isolating and lonely and frustrating. And I'm thankful my husband is on the journey with me. I'm not thankful he got
thankful I have alpha-gal.
I'm not thankful you have alpha-gal, but I am thankful you're on the journey with me. And so that has made it a lot more tolerable doing it together.
Yeah, you don't understand it until you've gone through it.
Yeah,
I will admit I wasn't very empathetic towards it until I got my alpha-gal.
He was not. He was not.
So... But
he did a lot of groveling and saying, "I'm sorry, I didn't understand."
That's sometimes that's the way life works. You know, you've got to experience a little bit of it in order to understand.
It's just hard because it's like you can no longer just walk out your front door and just let the day be. You have to know where am I going to eat? What am I going to eat? You know, am I going to walk into anywhere that's going to cause me to have a reaction? Like, you really have to plan every second. Like traveling on vacation is difficult. You have to, you don't want to fly because you have to bring your own.
That's my suitcase.
Well,
that's my suitcase of food.
Yesterday, I went up to the river property in Buffalo, sprayed for ticks and everything, and sure enough, I got 2 Lone Star ticks that bit me again. So and my numbers were getting really low, but I'm sure they've
creeped back up
after the tick bites. So it gets old. But
all right, well. Cool. I appreciate it.
And thank you so much.
Yeah, you bet.
If these conversations resonate with you, consider subscribing to Living in the Ozarks. And if there's a business, organization, or person we should be talking to, drop their name in the comments below. We're always looking for great stories.